On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Jeff Jacobs about protecting the brand and how he and other people in the industry are protecting you like superheroes. Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I am your host, Kirby Hasseman, and this time I'm really excited to welcome Jeff Jacobs to the show. Jeff is the Executive Director of QCA, and this is a nonprofit organization keeping us all safe in the promotional products industry. So thanks for joining us, Jeff.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for asking.
No problem, no problem. So it occurs to me, or I found this out in researching about you. You, in a previous life, were the brand manager of a large corporation, and one of your jobs was to protect the brand. And I think that's our job as a distributor, a supplier, and the end user. We have that in common. So what tips do you have for protecting the brand?
I think that's a great question. What is it? Director of brand merchandise at Michelin. And so from that very large Global 500 company, the managing partners recognized that the affinity that was being developed by promotional products was important. What they didn't want was the risk associated. So for us, buying on a worldwide level, my colleagues, we actually had a committee that looked into the safety of what they called non-tire products. And actually where we started was turning to our distributors of promotional products, and they then turned to QCA and said, just help me understand how this works. And so I think the answer is that you try as much as you can to avoid risk. You want to take a look at the risk assessment of a particular product from the very beginning. So if you're looking at children's products, jewelry that might include lead, drinkware, lots of opportunities. I think part of the idea to help your end user clients protect the brand is to avoid as much of it as you can in the first place. So from our standpoint, what we do is we accredit suppliers and their protocol, their ability to detect and deter unsafe product before it ever comes into the North American market. So I think from the very beginning, if you think of this as QCA as kind of an insurance policy, it's in that area of trust but verify. So when you're purchasing from suppliers, you need to know which questions to ask and make sure that you're buying from a supplier that has the questions you need to turn around to the end user. Because we're talking about the sustainability of our industry as a whole. None of us want to be the reason an end user runs with their hair on fire away from promotional products to gift cards. None of us want that to happen.
Right. No, you're exactly right. And so I think, obviously as executive director of QCA, it's part of your role, right? To promote that product safety and why it's so important in the entire supply chain, right?
Well, I think, we believe that safe and compliant products is best done as a collaborative effort. Collaborative effort that means the suppliers, the distributors, and the end users who are asking hopefully the right questions, but all of them embrace the concept of transparency in the supply chain. So yes, our job is to promote it. Our business, though, we are a supplier organization that's undertaken the accreditation process. So yes, we do have an information challenge. We do want people to know why it's so important. But realistically, it just comes down to a very, very basic property. It's either pay me now or pay me later. If you pay a little bit more up front for products that you feel very confident are safe, that's much better than the unfortunate alternative, which is recalls, lawsuits, harm, potentially even death to your end user, your consumer that has received this promotional product that they thought they had tremendous confidence in.
So it seems like it's, I think it's one of those things that feels like as we discuss it, it's sort of a no-brainer, but, I think change is tough sometimes, right? So have you had pushback on this product safety? And if so, why do you think that is?
There's no question there's pushback, and I think there's a lot of reasons. One is this is an industry that is, to a great degree, one of very low barrier to entry. There are people out there operating in this business. There are 27,000 odd distributors out there. You know that if they have a car trunk, they're in the business as long as they have a credit card. And their idea of a supply chain is, I know a guy. If we're conducting business like that, we're putting all of ours, I mentioned, the sustainability of our industry at risk. And there's the, kind of old guard that says, I've always done it that way. I'm totally driven by delivering the lowest price item. I'm willing to throw PO over the wall and see what comes back. Unfortunately, that's kind of we need to change that. That's the biggest challenge, is to change some of the old way of doing business. And as a further obstacle is, delivering safe and compliant product is not easy. There are all the changing regulations. There are regulations by state. Shipping in California with a product designed for children under 12 years of age, there is such a different set of rule books when you talk about Prop 65 and all the other challenges that it just, when you talk about general use articles somewhere else than California and child appealing products into California, you talked about two totally distant worlds. And there are people who are just unwilling. And the reality is, I'm not a compliance professional, but you need to be really close to one, because that's the way the business is. That's the new normal of business.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I know it's got to be a huge challenge for you, Jeff, but I feel like strides are really being made, and I commend you and your organization on all that work.
Well, I appreciate that, but there's a lot of hard work going on. You look at PPAI and their initiative for product safety awareness. I honestly think that there are a lot of end users that are forcing things into the marketplace. The major consumer beverage clients, Disney, just an awful lot of brands that are beginning to ask tougher and tougher questions. And for us, in our position, the tougher the question, the better we like it, because that then forces people. We honestly don't think that people just wake up one morning and decide to be certified. That you don't just go, oh, you know what, I'm going to, just because I want to be a good guy this morning, I'm going to spend 15 to 18 months getting my supplier certified by QCA. I'm going to make the investments in both people and money. I'm just going to do that because I'm a good guy. No, it happens one of three ways. One, they have a customer, and that's why we work with our Distributor Advocacy Council so closely. The best thing they can do is help us really target by taking a look at their preferred supplier programs and saying, look, one of the barriers to entries into a preferred supplier program is being QCA certified. So a customer saying no. A competitor saying, oh, look at the orders I'm getting because I do have certification. I can prove it. Or a colleague who says, oh, look, I heard about this QCA thing, and some of the business practices that became and some of these economies we've found, we're actually operating a better business. So it's a client saying no. It's a competitor kicking your hind end. Sorry, better be careful what I say there. It's a family show. Or a colleague who can share some degrees of success. So you don't just wake up one morning. But you're right. I think through the efforts of a lot of individuals in our industry at all three positions, supplier, distributor, end user, I think there's some work coming on. I think it's becoming at least a mainstream conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great job. And thank you for answering my three questions, Jeff. I always give everybody an opportunity to ask me one, so I will turn it over to you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, again, thanks for asking me to join. I've enjoyed it very much.
Absolutely.
We released a list last week. We took an outside firm and we asked them to do, I love this term, do some big data mining on the content providers in the promotional products industry. We looked for a very objective, independent evaluation of the top 25 authors, content providers in the business. Mm-hmm. And as you know by now, you're on that list. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But what we did, without going too deep into the methodology, is we looked at reach, we looked at engagement, we looked at numbers of followers and likes and all those things that the whole social media is driven by. Mm-hmm. But what we really were trying to share with the industry were the top 25 content producers, people that were really genuinely engaging in a conversation on promotional products. And we were so interested in doing that we actually added an extra layer. So we doubled the value of content relevancy to our industry. Mm-hmm. And as you now know, nobody scored higher in that part of our search content relevancy than you did. And a lot of it is because what we're doing right now, not you and I, just you, what you're doing right now is being recognized. So my question to you is the how and the why. How much focus do you actually put on sharing marketing joy? And how do you feel your customers react to it?
Wow. So first of all, thank you. I really appreciate the kind words and certainly the recognition. But to answer your question, yeah, content creation has been a really big focus for us. My background, as we talked before the show started, is in video production. I've got a background in promotional, and so some of this comes pretty naturally to me. But I've taken it to heart that each of us, every one of us, no matter what our business, is a media company. And so we are a media company that also sells promotional products. And so how does someone like that act? And I think we focus very hard on putting out consistent content every day, because that's what a media company would do. And then we weave in an opportunity to sell occasionally, just like a commercial at a media company. And so that's really how we treat our philosophy. From a customer standpoint, I think the response has been really good. I think people still buy from people they like, know, and trust. And this content has given us an opportunity to give first and show our personality, and then for the most part, people have responded. So, and frankly, Jeff, the people who don't respond, I probably don't want to do business with anyway. So the response has been really good, and it certainly is very, very flattering when people like yourself recognize it and say nice things about it. So I appreciate that.
Well, congratulations. It's work well done. On our end, we value content marketing because, as I mentioned before, it isn't like somebody's going to wake up one morning and spend all the money and all the time and all that. I don't really have price an item to sell to anybody.
Right.
So you have to message, and you have to message consistently, and you have to meet them on whatever channel that they're tuned into on that day and that time. So we put a lot of value on content marketing. We think this industry needs to have the top 25 individuals recognized, so that's why we did it. But more than anything else is we would hope then that the industry could have an opportunity to emulate those that are leading the way, because best practices, it's something you want to share at every level of your business. So congratulations.
Thanks, Jeff. I sincerely really do appreciate it. So, and I also really appreciate you joining me on the show. That wraps up another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I hope you enjoyed it, and we shall see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching, but wait! Can you do me a favor? Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done it already. The way to do it's right over here. And hey, if you want to watch the last episode, check that out over here. Again, before you leave, subscribe!